Victory lane.
Let's give them a send-off and let's give them a wave. We'll ask you to get up in turn 4, wave your hats, your programs, and anything you've got. Make some noise and stomp your feet. This is what racing in New England is all about. This is what racing in NASCAR is all about. You are the fans. This is the Whelen Modified Tour. Get ready. You're about to witness something like no other. Salute as we are about ready to commence. Paired off. Ready. It's showtime, Stafford style, from the Stafford Motor Speedway. A final wave off from the fans. They're ready. The NASCAR officials are ready. The lights are off atop the Whelen pace car as we're set. They head down the back straightaway. Matt, it's showtime here at Stafford.
It's one of the most exciting moments in New England sports, the start of a spring sizzler, as we are ready to raise the curtain for what should be one of the most memorable races in the 39-year history of the TechNet Spring Sizzler. So strapping himself in, ready to take you on the start of the 200-lap journey, the voice of the Stafford Motor Speedway, Ben Dodge.
We're ready. Get ready. It's about to happen off turn number 4. Green, 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 and they'll be racing to the line. It's showtime for the Stafford Motor Speedway for CarQuest festivities.
And some giddy up from the early going by Santos, moving ahead of Kobe in undisputed control of the lead. Trouble in turn number 2. A car got in the dirt. That was Chuck Hosfeld. He is able to solidify himself back out onto the speedway.
They are 3 wide already in the front pack of cars. Tomato stepped out of line, and so did Ronnie Silk. Leader remains Santos, but look a little further back in the field and you'll see that Zegedy is making his presence known in the outside lane. Keep your eyes on Silk. He's now worked his way into the top 5, Matt, with car number 6, and we've only got 2 laps into this event.
And he made a pretty slick move to get by Jamie Tomato on the bottom. Right behind those drivers is Eric Rudolph in car number 98, the youngest competitor in the field, and also a strong start for Rowan Pennick in car number 93. Ryan Preece might be hung out to dry on the outside. Let's see what the 2 of Zegedy can do against Ryan Preece.
You know, that battle is a real impressive one. Right now, Blewett will tuck out of line. He puts the handles on the Doug Colby machine, and now moving into second, it is Jimmy Blewett with car number 14. Now remember, this is an interesting story. Blewett drove for Eddie Partridge in that operation that now runs the 6 car. He decided to take some time off, comes back behind the wheel of the 14. That's the team that Reggie Ruggiero used to drive for the last couple of seasons on the Whelen Modified Tour. They purchased a Troyer race car, and Blewett is looking racy. He's no stranger to running for this team, Matt. He drove successfully and won many a title at Flemington and even at Wall Stadium.
And at Stafford, he is good, saving his tires. At least that's been the situation in the past. Eric Byrne running strongly in the number 3 spot, but he may give Silk some room to get underneath him. Doug Kobe is dropped to 5th, and the old warhorse, Jamie Tomato, running a solid 6th.
Meanwhile, a car that seems to be having a little bit of a problem running the outside is Ryan Preece with car number 3. Mike Stefanik just moved down underneath him, and the 76 car of Eric Beers also threading the needle to try to come back towards the front of this field. Out in front is the Santos machine. Bobby Santos has been a dominant factor, even though we've only got a couple of races going into the record book so far this season on the Whelen Modified Tour.
Blockbuster move by Ron Silk to get underneath Eric Byrne, and Silk has dieseled his way into the top 3.
Silk chases down the competitor that used to sit in his very driving seat in that race car. As Blewett now still setting in second, he's hunted down by Silk, who's as smooth as glass, and now Silk looks to make a bid for it as he looked to the outside, then back to the inside. Battle is for second, as you can see down the back straightaway. Here comes Silk, bonsai move to the bottom, gone, and Silk is now your second place car.
Ronnie Silk started 5th, and in just 10 laps has moved into the runner-up position. Ted Christopher making some noise, trying to barrel his way underneath Rowan Pennick. That is a battle for the number 8 spot.
You know, Teddy Christopher did not like the way his car was running in practice today. After the practice session, they threw everything they could at the race car to try to make some difference. Remember, in the past, Christopher has had Brad LaFontaine as his crew chief. That is no longer the case in 2010.
And Ryan Priest got on the bottom groove, and he is improving as he was able to whirlwind his way now into the number 12 position right behind Eric Beers. A little deeper in the field, we see the yellow car of the Eddie Flumpke Jr. He is losing a little position to Chris Pastriak. Now as they rumble into turn number 1, Bobby Santos has led every centimeter of the way so far.
He has led not only every centimeter, if you look at his times, they're almost flawless. He hits his marks each and every time by, and he is definitely among the shining stars of this event. They're starting to form into single file formation with the exception of Burt, who now just moves down underneath Jimmy Blewett and picks up the 3rd spot. Burt is a man with a mission, and we almost started to count out Doug Colby, but now he's moving down underneath Blewett. So Blewett looked strong about 5 laps ago, but see how quickly all that can change, Matt.
Doug Colby making a good move as he is able to whirlwind his way underneath Blewett. Only 2 drivers had an 18-second lap last time around. One was Bobby Santos, and the other driver in the 18-second range, James Savali.
Savali is perhaps considered a long shot, but not by any stretch of the imagination here, as he is also starting to show a little muscle here. Savali is one of few drivers. The owner of that team lives in the South, and in addition to that, of course, they run both a Southern and a Northern schedule. A lot of the skeptics said the combination of Savali and the hills would not work. I think it's working rather well.
It's working good today. The best battle on the track is for 5th and 6th. That's where Jimmy Blewett and Jamie Tomeno are hanging out. So Tomeno all over the back bumper like a bandages on a mummy. Then we have Eric Rudolph behind him. Rudolph running a solid race. Then it's Pennick, and Ted Christopher is currently running 9th.
One of the surprise things that we talked about earlier was with Rowan Pennick. A year ago, he felt so comfortable and so strong, and he thought he had a shot at winning this event. He said what bothered him the most, he's been thinking about it all year long, is how close he came to winning this prestigious event. Today, he was not as confident going in, but you wouldn't know it by his performance right now on the racetrack.
As he is doing a great job, so is Savali, as he is starting to pester the back bumper of the George Brunhosel car. So Brunhosel having a solid run so far in 13th, but nobody has been more solid than Bobby Santos. If he gets any bigger lead, Ben, they would have to put his picture on a milk carton. That is how far he has disappeared from the rest of the field.
He certainly has, and he doesn't seem to be slowing up a bit. Good battle between Ted Christopher and Rowan Pennick still going on. Christopher lets Rowan know that he's there, gives him a little tap to the bumper, and then pulls right back into line. At the start of this event, the 59 car was crossed up and spun to the bottom of the racetrack, and that's Chuck Hosfeld. If you look at the rear bumper on that car, Matt, you'll see that he definitely had some help. That bumper is bent up, so somebody gave him a solid shot right there initially on the start.
He's got some battle scars on the rear of that car. A good battle for 3rd shaping up between Eric Burt and Doug Colby, and Burt is able to hold him off for the time being. So we have 3 of the young veterans running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Ronnie Silk in the 6, Eric Burt in the 54, and also a part of the mix is Doug Colby in the 0. What a backup driver he is, as he looked like he was going to cannonball his way underneath Burt.
I love the comment that Doug Colby made in the pit party earlier today. He said, I'm not really sure that I want to run full-time anyways. I just take it one race at a time, and whoever I'm driving for, I consider their equipment the best at the time, and I'll try to do the best job of running that equipment, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. Probably of all of the teams that are represented here in this event, Colby's team is one of the lowest financed team, but Ralph Solom has the most desire and years of experience at running here at Stafford.
And he also likes the publicity he gets for being a backup driver if he has a good performance. Right now, he continues to apply the heat on the back bumper of the Eric Burt car. Behind him, Jimmy Blewett and Jamie Tomeno duking it out. And then we have Eric Rudolph, followed by Pennick and Christopher. And rounding out the top 10 is Mike Stefanik.
Talk about pit strategy. Joe Koss pointed it out earlier. The prestigious event known as the Sizzler now has a little different twist to it. You cannot take fuel and tires in the same stop, and that's going to set a whole different playing field when it comes to these pit stops coming up, Matt.
Now, you can take tires and fuel in the same caution,
right,
but you have to go into pit road, get one done, then go back out onto the track, and then if the caution is long enough, come back in. So you can do twice during one caution, but not on the same stop.
That is correct. And look at this battle between Eric Byrne and now the Blewett machine, car number 14. That's been going on for quite some time. Colby has moved into the top 3, and once the commanding lead held down by Santos, still good, but not as strong as it was earlier. And believe it or not, in 29 circuits, they are already starting to come up on lap traffic. Among the first cars to be lapped will be the number 33 of Wade Cole, and in front of him will be Johnny Bush with car number 68.
3 drivers in the 18-second range on that last lap. Bobby Santos, Doug Colby, and also Chuck Hosfeld. So Hosfeld currently 18th, but he is starting to make up some ground.
Never count out Hosfeld. He is a man that can overcome diversity. Remember, he's driven the Bob Garbarino car before, and he's had a lot of success here at Stafford, so he runs this track exceptionally well. Doug Colby has gotten a second wind, and that second wind means he is a factor in chasing down Ronnie Silk for second. All of a sudden, Colby dropped back a couple of positions on the racetrack, and now he's come right back to life up front. He currently sets in third. Meanwhile, Tomeno also turning in a good run here, Matt. Jamie Tomeno, the old warhorse, as you pointed out earlier, he is running very, very strong. Stronger than we've seen him run here at Stafford in quite some time, and he's all over Jimmy Blewett. Blewett looked so fast in the first 10 laps, but now he doesn't look as perky by any stretch of the imagination.
And Tomeno all over him like volcano dust as they go into turn number 2. A man looking to gain some ground is Ted Christopher, but he just can't figure out a way to get by Roland Pennick. Pennick has done a good job hanging on to his 9th place position. So everybody getting around Wade Cole. Beers is the latest to do it, along with Ryan Preece. And now Brunholzl in car number 46 is able to tap dance his way around the 33 car.
There's no question about that. And now we're seeing the lap traffic come into play here. Doug Colby that time literally reeled in on Ronnie Silk and almost had that second spot. Goes up the hill just a bit. It just doesn't happen and pulls it back in the line in third. Tomeno still working over Jimmy Blewett, and that is currently the battle for the 5th spot. And then it is in the 6th position. It is the number 98 machine of Rudolph running in a 6th spot, and a very good 6th position there. Meanwhile, Tomeno just gives Blewett another little tap to the bumper. 36 laps and counting in this 200-lap event presented by CarQuest.
Tomeno is moving like flames coming out of a dragon's throat as he is doing a spectacular job trying to get the spot away from Showtime Jimmy Blewett, and Blewett giving up ground very grudgingly. Ronnie Silk, a little bit of separation between himself and the 0 car of Colby, but they come off the corner and Colby is right there with him. Eric Byrne running 4th, Blewett 5th, Tomeno 6th, and then Eric Rudolph running 7th.
And that's currently the way they run in the top 7 positions. Currently in the 8th position, it is Rowan Pennick. 9th is Teddy Christopher. Stefanik is running in the 10th spot. Beers is 11th. Preece is 12th. And Brunholzl sets in the 13th spot over Bonsignor and James Savali.
So as they shuffle their way into turn number 3, it is Bobby Santos, the dominant factor ever since Jack Arute gave the command to start the engines. Nobody has started it more vigorously than Bobby Santos. Now Blewett has opened up a little daylight between himself and Tomeno. That is a fight for the 5th position. A couple of guys who might be on the move. James Savali in 15th. And the guy right in front of him in 14th, one of the 2 rookie drivers in the field, Justin Bonsignor. Now, what about Rich Pillai? He is currently running 21st, 1 notch behind Woody Pitkat.
Yes, and it appears that Pitkat is still struggling A tough run for him so far, but usually Pitcat comes on stronger right about the halfway point in the event. We are 42 laps in to this 200 lap event, and things are starting to settle in just a bit. Let's talk about some of the stories in this event as well. We talked about Jamie Tomeno. Mike Stefanik drives a car that Sly is the crew chief on, and that is car number 16. The Stefanik combination and Flamingo Motorsports is no stranger to running up front here at Stafford, as Stefanik liked the way that car was running in practice today, and he felt very comfortable in that race car. So I don't think they're showing all their cards as yet, Matt. What do you think?
I think he is waiting at least until the pit stop to show what he can do in car number 16. 20 of his 70 victories have come at Stafford Motor Speedway, and I'm sure a lot of you veterans remember him when he started at Stafford in what they called the All-American Sportsman Division at the time. And I think you knew that Stefanik was going to be headed for some good things. Right now, he's trying to head off Ted Christopher. He is running 10th, Christopher 9th. Chris Pastriak, now remember last year in 4 races at Stafford, his worst finish was 6th. And right now, Pastriak is running 17th. So he is yet to be a factor. A lot of guys in the 18-second range in the last lap, but the fastest was Eric Rudolph. So Rudolph, you can't forget him. Remember, he's the youngest driver in the history of the Whelen Tour to rack up a victory. Santos shows no signs of weakening in car number 4. You almost need Doppler radar to keep track of the Mystic Missile. And it could be interesting as now he is approaching some lap traffic. Johnny Bush and Wayne Cole running side by side, so that might enable Ronnie Silk to pick up some ground on Santos. First, Cole goes downstairs, and now tangoing around the 68 is Bobby Santos. So the lap traffic, really not much of an obstacle for Bobby Santos, the $50,000 man, because he was a driver who won the biggest short track purse in the history of New England, winning a $50,000 prize by winning a big car race at the Stafford Motor Speedway.
That is right, and he is looking just as strong as he did that night behind the wheel of the number 4 modified, as he continues to set a blistering pace at the point in this event. Meanwhile, look a little further back here and you'll see that Blewett, who was starting to falter just a bit, is now coming back to life, and he's applying some pressure to Burt now as well. Eric Beers also with Mike Stefanik. That's a 2-car little mini battle going on right there. Beers taking over the Blewett family-owned race car. Last year, remember, he was behind the wheel of the number 46 machine, which is now driven by Brunhutzel. 51 laps are now complete, and up on the big board, a little further back in the field, Reen and Hartman have their own little battle going on, and that is directly in front of our leader, Santos, with car number 4.
But a great battle for second and third, as Silk has a spot, but all over him, like laundry on a clothesline, is the 0. Doug Colby. Not far away is Eric Burt. So Eric Burt, who has a lot of experience and a lot of laps at Stafford, he is putting those laps to use by running a strong 4th. Best battle between Pennick and Christopher. That is for 8th and 9th.
That battle has been going on lap after lap, and now they're coming up on some lap traffic. Rene Dupuis is directly in front of the Pennick and Christopher battle at this particular point. Rene is one of the original pioneers for women drivers in open modified racing. There's no question about that.
She was just 16 years old when she started a career in the Pro 4 Modifieds. She advanced to regular modifieds. Now we have trouble in turn number 3. 3 cars get together, and another car, our leader, is stranded in the middle of turns 3 and 4.
The Santos machine is spun between turns 3 and 4 in a jingle that took place. Hopefully we've got it on our television monitor, but what a heartbreaker for Santos. The leader so far out in front, literally gone at one point, and some lap traffic creates a situation that is an unfortunate one, and it looks like the number 4 car, the damage does not appear to be too severe, thank goodness. Leader Santos comes up on lap traffic. Johnny Bush, the 68 car. Bush makes contact with Santos. Santos goes spinning like a top.
A lot of people are on pit road, so our pit reporters are going to get busy in a moment. Rowan Pennick, one of those drivers who went along with Chris Pastriak. Stefanik almost ran into Santos coming out of the pit. So a little problem as Santos was coming in, Stefanik was leaving, and they almost came together as we go to Joe. We're trying to go to Joe. Hopefully we will get that problem straightened out with Joe Cross. Right now, Ted is back out onto the speedway. So these drivers, remember, they can't do both, fuel and tires at the same time.
Interestingly enough, the Santos team did put fuel in car number 4. It started to go and then it stalled. The crew came over the wall, gave him a little push and fired back up, and he picked up at the rear of the field. Bob Slade looks the field over, and there's the lazy green, and it's Colby who quickly jumps out into the lead. Ralph Solom's race car is now the leader of the pack. Ronnie Silk sets in second. Here comes Burt now down underneath Beluit, and Teddy Christopher becomes factor number 5.
He is fighting with Eric Barrett for the number 4 position. So on the outside, Christopher can't get there, and now he is vulnerable to Jamie Tomeno on the bottom.
Good battle going on right there, and now all of a sudden up the hill, a problem. Bonsignor got out of shape and almost cost Woody Pitcat a position or 2. Meanwhile, Santos is trying to thread the needle through traffic, and he's doing a fine job of that. Pitcat shuffles further back. James Savali is there as well.
Bobby Santos trying to air rifle his way past the 51 car. He pulls off that move. So Bobby Santos in a hurry. Here comes Ronnie Silk trying to wrestle the lead away as he jackknifes his way underneath Doug Colby. Off of turn number 4, it's still Colby, but Ronnie Silk is in a hurry.
No question about it. Now here's what's interesting there as the two almost make contact. You remember, Doug Colby's sister is married to Ronnie Silk, so it's kind of a family affair at the point in this one. So it is Colby who brings him still back to the line, and Ronnie Silk is right there to contend with him as they work their way to the bottom of turn number 1.
Eric Burt is drifted to the outside in car number 54, and here comes Christopher. As Christopher trying to gallop his way into the top 4, and he does it. So a little rocket-like maneuver by Ted Christopher.
Back to the stripe, it's still Colby. Silk still right there in second. Meanwhile, Beluit still got the 3rd spot, and Christopher, as Matt had mentioned, has now moved into the 4th spot. Byrne is up to 5. Tomeno is in the 6th spot. And then in the 7th spot, it is Stefanik. 8th position is Beers. 9th position is Priest. And 10th is now Rowan Pennick. Where is the Santos machine? Currently setting in 11th, 68 laps up on the board.
He is all over Pennick like a pigeon on a statue as they go down the backstretch at the front of the field. Ronnie Silk, will he make another charge at Colby? As Colby is under siege, but he's able to handle his brother-in-law.
No question about that. He's still doing a great job with 69 laps up on the board. A little further back in the field, Andy Seiss has been picking them off one at a time. He forces the Savali machine back a couple of positions on the racetrack. Out in front still remains Colby. Silk is still running in second.
So there's trouble by Ken Hagee in the 18. He has limped off the track. Battle for 4th. Beers Burt. A little love tap to the back of Christopher's car. Ted Christopher used to drive for Eric Burt's grandfather. Right now, Burt screeching his way on the outside. Doesn't have enough adrenaline to run down Christopher.
Interestingly enough, it appears to be a real good battle right there going on as well.
Trouble for Silk as Blewett gets by him. Christopher goes by him. Something wrong has happened to car number 6 and Ronnie Silk.
Heartbreaking situation. The Grasso brothers' prepared car that was among the quickest on the racetrack comes down on pit road, and a mechanical problem is going to sideline that car. We'll see if Joe Koss or Cal Chenanet can tell us more of what's happening with the Silk number 6. So not a good day, but a good break for Doug Colby, because now he's got a lead that is very impressive. Colby's fastest lap time is 18.779. Let's go to Joe Koss.
On pit road, Ronnie Silk, to make matters worse, overshoots his pit stall. Now they're looking underneath the rear of the automobile, trying to see if there's a problem, possibly overheating, because now they're going to look under the hood a little bit instead of head back around. I'm not sure if he's going to head back out on the speedway or just bring it back behind pit wall.
It looks like he's heading back out, Joe, and he does. Who is the fastest guy with the fastest lap? You're going to be surprised, but not really. Teddy Christopher, 18.648. 18.648. Christopher is the fastest car on the racetrack. He is currently your third place car.
But he trails Doug Colby by 1.2 seconds. Blewett in second is trailing by 1.1 second. So that means only a tenth of a second separates Blewett from Christopher. Eric Burt, he has had a great car for the first 76 laps as he is surging along in fourth. And Jamie Tomeno, he refuses to die. So if Tomeno has a top 5 car this afternoon, I think he'll be doing cartwheels as the old warhorse has plenty of firepower. Stefanik right behind him, and then Eric Beers running 7th.
Then in the 8th spot, it is currently Preece. Pennick is 9th, and Santos has now moved into the top 10. So that's currently the way they stand among the top 10 spots here. Christopher and Blewett, there is no love between those two. We have seen that in years past, but the story here is 2 red cars, like 2 raging Red Bulls, literally fighting it out for that runner-up spot. Runner-up isn't good enough. It's just the first place loser. When it comes to Blewett or Christopher, just ask him.
And Christopher almost had a notion to try to dive bomb his way underneath Blewett. Thought better of it. Maybe the most entertaining battle on the track is for 8th, 9th, and 10th as we go to Joe.
There's no question about that. It's a good battle going on between Blewett and Christopher still, lap after lap. There's no question there. That battle still continues. But for Doug Colby, he is out in front and pulling away. And Ralph Solom is smiling from ear to ear with this one, because this would be another great Sizzler story if the little guy, without the big backing and the big support, with the driver that wasn't even supposed to be the driver, who's setting behind the wheel and is doing a masterful job, and that's Doug Colby.
As Ralph has never won the Spring Sizzler before, right now Doug Colby continues to put plenty of distance between himself and the red combination, the Blewett and Christopher. Ryan Preece running 8th. That's a pretty spirited battle between Pierce, Pennick, and Bobby Santos now in 10th.
A guy that has passed perhaps more cars on the racetrack than anyone is Chuck Hosfeld. After being involved in a jingle initially on the start where he got bounced around like a ball in a pinball machine, Hosfeld is up to the 11th spot with car number 59. And this, like some of the other teams, is a brand new team, and they're just doing a great job of overcoming the diversity that they faced at the start of this event.
Well, now Johnny Bush is in front of Doug Colby. Remember what happened when Santos tried to go around him? But Colby has a little more success as he is able to whiplash his way around the 68 car. So does Blewett, so does Christopher. The lead about 0.8 of a second for Doug Colby. In 84 laps, we have had 3 leaders, 1 caution, and Doug Colby, the 3rd leader of this race, and he is leading by about the length of a telephone pole over Jimmy Blewett, who started to open up some daylight between himself and Christopher.
You have to wonder if the strategy is now becoming to save the tires a bit, because Christopher was right there with Blewett, and now he seems to be off the pace just a bit. Is that a planned maneuver, or it is, well, just a factor, I guess we'd have to say. Down on pit road again, unfortunately, the 6 car is back on pit road for Ronnie Silk. What a heartbreaker for them. They had among the quickest cars here before a mechanical problem took them and sidelined them in the competition here.
He is 2 laps down now, and it's going to get worse as his crew works on that car. And it is Stefanik in 6th, and in striking distance is Eric Beers in 7th. So Eric Beers, a good solid run, as we are still not at the halfway point. So there's a lot of race to go. You know, in years past, Ted Christopher didn't know the meaning of that phrase, save your tires, but he had to refine his driving style a little bit when he was contending for a champion. He copied some of the driving technique of the 5-time champion, Tony Hirschman, and now he is much better on his equipment than he used to be.
There's no doubt about it. Right now, Beers is applying some pressure to Stefanik, and that is currently the battle for the 6th spot. Stefanik now being pressured heavily as Beers is all over him, and now Beers looks to the inside, gathers it back, and pulls it right back into line. as that's a good battle, equally as impressive there as well.
So a tenth of a second separating those two drivers, and it looked like Beers almost tried to scorch his way underneath that 16 car. Then it's Priest, followed by Pennick, and now Bobby Santos has some company. And Chuck Hosfeld, as you said, he's passed more cars than anybody, and he is running solid laps. 19.02 was his last lap. So Chuck Hosfeld was elbowed to the curb early, but he has made quite a comeback.
He certainly has. You can see that the laps are starting to settle in just a bit. We are approaching just 8 laps shy of the halfway marker in this CarQuest 200 lap event. 92 laps and showing up on the big board. There's no question about it. Colby is still being very consistent. 18.920 on the last time by. Blewett was an 18.977 and Christopher was an 18.909. So that means Christopher is the fastest of those three.
And they have pushed the Ronnie Silk car behind the wall. So he apparently is finished for this afternoon in 28th place. Ronnie Silk, but he had a good enough car, Ben, to be the winner.
He certainly did. I think the same can be said about the Santos machine, as now it is Priest that comes up on a lap car, which is Wade Cole. So Priest, Pennick, Santos, and Hosfeld, they haven't been able to shake each other off lap after lap. And look at Eric Beers trying to get around the Santos machine, and that has been a battle that's been going on for about 25 laps, believe it or not, and nobody can gain on anybody else. Currently, here's how we stand: 96 and counting. Leader is Doug Colby. Blewett is second. Christopher is third. Byrne is fourth. Tomato is fifth. 6th is Stefanik. 7th is Beers. 8th is Priest. 9th is Pennick. And rounding out the top 10, it is Bobby Santos. 11th is Hosfeld. Zegedy is 12th. Monsignor is 13th. Azus is 14th. Rudolph is 15th. That's currently the way they stand on lap number 97.
And Colby has extended his lead to 1.2 seconds over Blewett. Let's see what Showtime does against lap traffic.
Oh, trouble down the backstretch. It appears that a little bit of a hiccup.
Trouble on the front stretch, too.
All of a sudden, Santos has now moved down underneath Rowan Pennick. Bobby Santos has moved underneath Pennick and picked up a spot.
Well, Joe Hartman wound up in John Deere country. He kicked up a lot of dust, but was able to get back out onto the racing surface. So we have had only one caution for the first 100 laps. Doug Colby took over the lead from Ronnie Silk, and he is now leading by a second and a half over Jimmy Blewett.
Yes,
Bobby Santos, maybe that's a battle we're going to have to keep an eye on, Ben, as Santos is closing in on Ryan Priest. Remember, 2 weeks ago, they were battling for the lead in the icebreaker. Today, they're about to battle for 8th place.
That's been happening directly in front of them is a battle for the 6th and 7th spot. Stefanik still holding off the driver of car number 76, and that, of course, is Eric Beers. So there's several different little battles going on. 101 laps up on the big board.
It's difficult to pass Stefanik, and people have had problems doing that for more than 20 years. As he is leading by about an arm's length over Eric Beers in the battle for 6th place.
That is a great battle, as we said, continuing to go lap after lap. Colby's last time by 19.040. That is a little bit slower than Blewett's 18.993. And Christopher is still faster than both of them with an 18.973. So 103 laps are the story here in this one. And now Byrne has moved in, making it a 3-car bid between Blewett, Christopher, and Byrne.
And things are starting to get crowded in the fight for 8th as Priest and Santos. Pennick was up there momentarily, and then he faltered back a bit. Hosfeld is in the ballpark, and Todd Zegedy. We haven't talked about him that much this afternoon, but he is running in the top 12.
Meanwhile, Santos still really trying to get around the Priest machine, car number 3, and now Hosfeld is applying some pressure to Pennick. They come off the turn. Lapped automobile becomes Rene Dupuis with car number 90 as 105 laps continue to show up on the board.
And now Doug Colby trying to wheel and deal his way around the 17 of Glenn Reen. So Kobe leading by a second and a half over Jimmy Blewett, and that margin has stayed the same over the last handful of laps. So we have had dominant leaders today. First it was Bobby Santos, and then when he was leading, he was involved in a jingle with the lap car of Johnny Bush, and he is still trying to recover from that. Currently, Bobby Santos is ninth, and he is having a very difficult time navigating his way around Ryan Preece.
Preece is not running as strong as he usually is at this point of the event, and Santos is still trying to make that comeback work for him after that lapped automobile almost cost him drastically. There's no doubt about that. Still a good battle between Christopher and Jimmy Blewett. The 14 and the 36 car, the battle of the red, has been going on lap after lap. Burnt was running with them and then backed out of it just a bit as he's letting the tires cool just a bit here.
We have 23 cars on the lead lap. The last car on the lead lap is Rich Pillai Jr. in 23rd. 4 cars are out of the event at the time being. Summers, Hagee, Brunhosel, and Silk.
109 laps now showing on the board. Passing flag being given to competitors like Johnny Bush, the Reen number 17 car, and the Hartman machine all be giving the passing flag. Now it is Santos has moved towards the front of the field. Again, Santos now goes around the number 3 car of Ryan Preece.
Took him a while to do it, but he finally completed the maneuver. So Santos still has a fast car. His last lap was 18.9, so he is clicking off some good laps, and he has to because he wants to get back into the mainstream.
His next target becomes a lapped automobile, and that's the Richie Pillai machine that is about to be going down from the leaders here very shortly. Rene Dupuis, number 90, is down on pit road. Apparently a problem there. So back towards the front of the field, Stefanik is able to shake off the number 76 of Eric Beers, and now the Santos car is starting to pick up a little bit of ground on the racetrack. Last time by, the Santos car was an 18.985. The leader was still a 19.040. So the Santos car is still as quick as it was at the start of this event. While a lot of the other cars are backing up, Matt, that is not the story for the Santos car. It's actually maintaining the same speeds and the same lap time.
114 laps have been completed, and it's been a joyride at this juncture for Doug Kobe as he continues to have a healthy lead over the 14 of Jimmy Blewett. You're looking for something happening? Look at Rowan Pennick as he makes an aggressive dive bomb move underneath Ryan Preece, and Preece is able to shut the door.
No question about it. He is able to close that door, and Rowan Pennick now is being pressured by Hosfeld, who's right there on his back bumper, as Hosfeld continues to try to make up some time lost in the first lap of the event. Hard to believe as we're 117 laps in. Wade Cole's car down on pit road just fell off the jack a second ago, so they're struggling with some type of a problem there as well. Johnny Bush pretty much the same there. Woody Pitcat is battling with Goodale, and it is Pastriak right there with them, so that's another little round that has been having their own little mini war taking place.
So we have had problems with a lot. That Johnny Bush car has been about 5 laps down as Doug Kobe. I mean, he is making it look easy out there. Now we're on lap number 120. It's been a long time since the drivers came in for service, and Doug Kobe hasn't gone in yet, I believe.
Well, it certainly does appear that way, and he is still maintaining a great run at the front of this field. Kobe comes up on lap traffic as we speak, and that lap traffic is the number 50 machine for the Goodale team in operation there as well. So here comes the leader. Oh, trouble now. Flemke goes spinning like a top and almost collects Teddy Christopher as he regroups the race car. Wow.
But the second yellow is out on lap number 120. And now things are going to get really interesting as the action shifts from the track to pit road. Let's see what Doug Kobe decides to do. Almost everyone will follow his example, and here he comes on the pit road. Our leader, Doug Kobe, is in the pits. What about Jimmy Blewett? He's there. Christopher is there. Joe Koss is there.
Kobe, no complaints on his race car when he first came down under that first caution flag, so he said we'll stay out and see if we could stretch it a little bit. They'll come down on pit road on this opportunity past the halfway point. Several of the cars will come down pit road. Just a couple of things to look for. Bobby Santos will take tires. Rowan Pennick will take tires along with Mike Stefanik. And also the 79 machine of James Savali have not yet taken tires. So does Ryan Priest. They'll all make tires. Many of these race cars feeling just a bit too loose out on the racetrack, so they'll make chassis adjustments for that at the same point in time. Todd Zegedy also in. He'll take tires as well. It's a 4-tire change for Ted Christopher as the crews frantically work. 5 men over the wall here at the Stafford Motor Speedway as they work for the race off of pit road, and it is Eric Beers is the first car off of pit road. Mike Stefanik, quick work for that team, followed by Bobby Santos and Jimmy Blewett, your top 4 off of pit road.
Interestingly enough, Joe, there is no question about it. What happened? Bierce's car stalled when he was trying to get back on pit road. It was Wade Cole who gave him a push that got it fired back up again. And even though you might say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, Doug Colby, car number 0, came in, made the initial stop, and got back out as quick as most. Santos made a good pit stop. Blewett made a good pit stop as well. So get ready. It's not over with yet. 123 is the number showing on the board as we speak.
Ted Christopher on pit road. Let's go to Joe Koss.
Well, trouble for Ted Christopher on that pit stop. Extremely upset on the radio. Asked to the crew what happened on that pit stop. They had a lug on the socket on the lug nut got jammed. It fell off, and then they couldn't get it back on quick enough. So a very lengthy stop. Trouble similarly for Ryan Priest. They had a hard time getting the left rear tire on his machine. One of the fuel strategy things comes into place as Todd Zegedy comes back down pit road, takes his splash of fuel. He is set to go the distance. Keep in mind, Ted Christopher has not yet come in for fuel. They say they need about 25 caution laps to be able to do that. I don't know if we have that just yet in this event. It's going to be real tight on fuel for the 36.
Let's see what's going to happen. They're about ready to go back to green off turn number 4. Starter Bob Slade looking the field over, and there is the green, and it is Rudolph with a slight advantage to try to take over the lead, but Tomato isn't about to give up. They're wheel-to-wheel and side-by-side. Stefanik comfortably in the 3rd spot. With him is Santos, and there's Blewett back to the front. Here comes Tomato. He muscles his way back into position number 1, and Stefanik's car is dancing without a partner. Currently in 2nd. Keep your eyes on Stefanik, as Stefanik will now take over the 2nd spot. Santos drops back about 2 positions, and here's Christopher. When he's mad, he is racy, Matt, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Bobby Santos trying to get back onto the bottom groove. Ted Christopher not making that possible right now as the 36 is underneath him, and now Santos gets down low. Priest battling for the number 4 position as he is trying to jitterbug his way. There's trouble as the leader, Jamie Tomato, goes around.
Stefanik and Tomato made contact. That set off a ripple effect, and that ripple effect sees several cars spinning, among them being the Pillai machine, the Woody Pitcat number 28, the 8-ball car, but the heartbreaker of this one has to be Jamie Tomato, leader of the event. There was some contact. Stefanik got in there a little deep. They did touch, and Tomato ends up spinning, and Stefanik still is the man who inherit and to take over at the point.
So a secondary skirmish, a little deeper, involving Woody Pitcat among others. So according to our scoring, Ryan Priest in car number 3 will be our leader. So let's see what happens to Mike Stefanik in car number 16, as Priest is number 1 in our computer, but number 2 on the racetrack right now.
So tough break for Jamie Tomato. A brilliant run he was having with car number 99, the leader of the pack, and then a little contact was made, and he went around, and they're continuing to check the racing surface itself. Woody Pitcat is on pit road, and Joe Koss has more. Joe?
Well, Jamie Tomato was going to try to go the whole 200 laps. I went down to talk to the crew. I said, can you go 200 laps without a stop? They said, well, we're going to find out right before that incident up at turn number 4. Now that changes their strategy completely. They'll come down pit road, they'll fuel the car up, and then they'll see if they're going to make any tire or chassis adjustments from there. But first, they're going to get some fuel in the race car.
So Mike Stefanik is put into the lead in car number 16 with Priest in 2nd, Blewett 3rd, and Rudolph 4th, as we check out our screen to see what happened to Jamie Tomato in car number 99 as it happened as the cars got into turn number 4. And we did not get a good look on that angle. So hopefully we will see it from a different vantage point. Maybe this one will show us what happened, Ben.
Here comes Stefanik. He goes to the inside, and the two just touched. That's all it was. Very simple situation, and Tomeno went spinning, and the scoreboard shows the story, and Stefanik goes back into the number 1 spot. So it was just a racing hard situation, and it looked no different. Stefanik is the leader.
We get ready to go back to full speed.
Off turn number 4, a battle of the blues. Stefanik on the inside, and it is Preece on the outside. Stefanik to the advantage, and he'll move into the number 1 spot. Preece tries to fight back. Look out, here comes Beluit. He goes to the inside, and Preece is shuffled back just a bit. Santos getting pumped up and on the wheel. He moves into the 4th spot, right behind Beluit, and here comes Ted Christopher working his way to the bottom with car number 36.
Wade Cole is on the infield row. The top 3 can fit inside an aspirin bottle. And the man giving the headaches out is Jimmy Blewett, as he is able to whirlwind his way underneath Preece. Now he's after the leader, Mike Stefanik.
No question about it. Blewett tries the high side, then he dips down low and tries the inside. It is Santos up to the 3rd spot now, as it appears that Preece is trying to get back into the lower lane, but he can't do it yet. Beluit gives a tap to Stefanik. There's a bid for the lead, and suddenly the door opens down to the bottom of turn 1.
Let's see if Blewett can blow his way in. He is even with Stefanik. Those two cars Velcro together as they go into turn number 3. Power move by Blewett, and he becomes the 5th leader of the Spring Sizzler. Trouble for Preece, hitting the wall.
Stefanik and Preece come together, and Preece makes light contact with the wall, and that is going to bring out yet another yellow.
Tyler and Pastriak spinning to avoid mayhem, but problems for Preece.
He did not appear to make hard contact with the wall, but enough to definitely cause some damage to the right front wheel, as the wheel is now towed out as car number 3 is heading back and trying to get back to his pit area. So a heartbreaking situation there.
But Jim Blewett becomes the 6th leader of this race. It was Bobby Santos, followed by Ronnie Silk, followed by Doug Covey, then Jamie Tomeno, then Mike Stefanik, and now it's showtime. Jimmy Blewett, and look who is going to be in his hip pocket, Bobby Santos, as we head down to pit road where the action is and where Joe Koss is.
Well, I want to follow up on the story I mentioned a little bit earlier. Ted Christopher currently running the top 5 of the racetrack. Remember, he only came down for tires. They took 4 tires, had a problem on the pit stop that cost him a lot of track position. They have decided, I do believe, to try to go the entire distance without making a pit stop. Should be interesting. I mentioned in my open that only the fearless would be able to try that, and it looks like Ted Christopher and that crew are going to try to go the entire 200 laps on fuel. This caution flag certainly helps him out quite a bit, but it ranges from anywhere between 20 and 35 laps of caution that he needs to be able to get this thing 200 laps without stopping once.
Now we're going to take a look at our monitors again and see if we can figure out what is the story here. Down the backstretch, Beluit is to the inside, Stefanik to the outside, Santos goes in there, and it was really one of those things. They were all bidding for the same footprint on the racetrack, and it just didn't work. You couldn't put 3 cars into one spot.
Well, when you go for the same footprint, you know what happens. Somebody gets stomped on, and that happened to Ryan Preece. As we take another look at it, Preece moving in at Stefanik as he slammed the back bumper of the Stefanik car and ended up making a gentle contact, if there is such a thing, when you're going 100 miles an hour into the barrier. One more look at it, and the same result. Stefanik and Preece getting together. Preece is on the sidelines. Joe Koss, what's happening?
Yeah, he's parked his car just on the other side of the number 4 machine of Bobby Santos. The car just about fell off the jack. Bobby Santos' crew and Bob Garbarino's group came over, assisted the 3 team, the Bowler group, to be able to get that car back up on the jack. Now they'll go to work on the right front. Lots of damage there, and the crew is going to work on it. They've got the crash board out, and they're going to look like they're going to replace the right front hub. So still a lot of work left to go on car number 3.
Let's see what's going to happen as they head off turn number 4, looking to go back to green, and they do, and it appears that Santos is still trying to hold on in the outside lane, but now Christopher has moved into 2nd, and Beluit is the leader of the pack.
So swooping his way into the runner-up spot, Ted Christopher, as he is able to nudge his way past Bobby Santos. Santos hung up on the outside, and now he tucks it back in behind Christopher's car. So a good move by by Santos to get back on the bottom groove.
Blewett still the leader, but the big question is for how long. Now Stefanik has moved back to the 4th spot with car number 16. Off the turn, back in line in formation. Another car that is coming on very, very strong again is the 0 car for Doug Colby. He's threading the needle and coming to the front of the field, and now here comes Christopher. Made a bid for it. Now Santos tried to make the same type of move that Christopher did. It just didn't work that time. As they come off the turn, back to the stripe, it's Blewett, the leader of the pack.
Santos tried to torpedo his way underneath Christopher. The move didn't work. He's going to try it again in turn number 2. And again, Christopher responds by going after Jimmy Blewett for the lead.
Deep into the 3rd turn, it is still 3 cars contending at the point, but Blewett is still holding on, but Christopher is really nipping at his heels. There's no question about that. Down into turn number 2, Christopher sees some daylight. Ted Christopher takes over the lead on lap number 145, and the tail that wags the dog suddenly becomes car number 4, and Santos now muscles his way into 2nd, but Blewett is not going to give up without a dogfight.
Christopher being double teamed by the combination of Santos and Blewett. Stefanik now dropping back into 4th. Here comes Santos as he is able to wiggle his way underneath the 14 of Blewett. Christopher in the lead. The big question mark over the final 53 laps. Does Ted Christopher have enough fuel to go the distance?
Christopher didn't like the last pit stop, but that was kind of the fuel that fired him up to get pumped up to go to the front of the field, and he has done just that. Let's look at the field now. Christopher is your leader in 18.642. Santos is 2nd, 18.805. Blewett is 3rd. Stefanik is 4th. Savali is 5th. Goodale is 6th. Pennick is 7th. Hosfeld is 8th. And Colby is back up to 9th. And Woody Pitkat currently sets in the 10th spot. That's currently how they run, with 149 when they cross the stripe this time by.
I guess Christopher disliked that pit stop so much he decided not to make another one, as right now he is leading by about a couple of surfboards over the 4 of Santos. Ted Christopher, the defending Sizzler champion. A little deeper in the field, and we see Chuck Hosfeld. He is starting to nag on the back bumper of Roland Pennick's car. So Chuck Hosfeld has gotten into the top 10, but he is having a difficult time trying to get better than 8th.
No question about that, and there's still good racing all the way back through the field as well. Leader Christopher comes off turn number 4 and comes back to the line. 50 laps remain, 50 laps left in the greatest race in the history of spring.
So it'll be Christopher against Santos, and also Christopher against the gas gauge. A double file battle there, with Blewett safely in 3rd, and things are starting to get interesting again in the fight for 4th between Mike Stefanik and James Savali. And then it is Kevin Goodale in car number 50, as he is quietly moved back onto the radar screen as he is guarding 6th place against
Woody
Roland
Pitkat
Pennick.
is down on pit road, Matt. Woody Pitkat, who was running among the top 10 cars, a mechanical problem with car number 28. That's a heartbreaker for them. As
He
now
was 10th before that happened.
Doug Colby has moved up into the 9th spot, and it's still not over with yet. On pit road, Jamie Tomato still working on the 99 car, as that team has had an up and down day. And Joe Koss has the story on the number 28 car. Joe?
Woody Pickat's car came down the pit lane and they couldn't get it refired. Now finally he was able to get it refired, and it shuts off just that quickly once again. They'll go ahead and put the hood back on the race car. Woody Pitkat pounding the steering wheel when he came down pit road. Certainly not looking good, and they're going to wave him off. It looks like his day has come to an end.
That's a heartbreaker. Woody did turn in a great run there, and really just starting to come into it. Caution flag is out for a spin, and it looks like one of the Goodale cars that is
That's
spun.
Eric.
Yep, in turn number 4, and that brings out a yellow. And this could be a crucial yellow, Matt, because of the fuel gas situation. Off turn number 4.
That's right. Santos came in twice.
Looking to go back to green. Bob Slade pointing at the men in the front row. There's the green, and Christopher has the advantage, and Santos is stuck in the outside lane, and Blewett moves back into 2nd, Matt.
Blewett able to catapult his way into the runner-up spot, gets a little nudge, a kiss, a tap from Santos. He's playing the back bumper like a xylophone. But right now, the 14 stays in second, and fourth and fifth is being hotly contested between Stefanik and Savali. Goodale went on the outside against Pennick. The move didn't work, and now he's vulnerable to Kobe.
Meanwhile, Doug Kobe moved down underneath. Goodale takes him up the hill. Goodale is in trouble, and he makes contact with the wall. We go back to yellow.
Kobe tried to bobsled his way underneath the 50 car, and Goodale wound up against the railing. And he comes back down onto the main groove, but it cost him a bunch of real estate.
So he heads down on pit road, even though pit road is not open at this particular point.
Jimmy Blewett making a gamble, so the top two, it's almost like they are at a crap table rolling the dice as here comes Christopher out of the barrel, and Christopher has a battle on his hand with both Santos and Blewett.
Blewett goes up the hill. Santos is right there, and now Stefanik and Savali are right back in the thick of things. Down the back straightaway, it is Blewett that sees some daylight. He's going to go for it as he comes off turn number 4, but it's still Christopher. Bring him back to the line.
Here comes Santos, looking to elbow his way underneath Blewett. Ted Christopher has won the last 2 Spring Sizzlers. Can he do it? Trouble on the backstretch, as it looked like Doug Kobe now is able to maneuver his way underneath Savali.
Off the turn, back down to the line, and there's still great action going wherever you look in the front pack of cars.
Chris Pastriak moving his way. He is 8th. Remember last year in 4 races at Stafford, he finished no worse than 6th, and he has companionship. Look at Todd Zegedy gallop in car number 2.
Todd Zegedy was considered out of this a few laps ago, but he has now gotten his second win, and he's pressuring Hosfeld. Coming to the front of the field with a vengeance there as well. Meanwhile, Blewett and Santos, still either one of them not giving up in their battle between the two for the second spot. Meanwhile, Stefanik still sits in that 4th position, a little further back in the field. There is still several good mini battles going on there as well, and among them being a battle between Burnt, who's trying to pressure Bonsignor and Hosfeld to get back towards the front of this field. That's the battle for the 9th, 10th, and 11th spot. 171 now off the board. Now we go to 172, and Christopher still the leader of the pack.
And second and third can fit inside a cowboy hat. That's where Blewett and Santos are still battling. Here comes Pennick. Strong move underneath Doug Kobe, and Pennick is able to torpedo his way into 5th place.
He does, and Pennick is now looking very, very strong, while the 0 of Doug Kobe currently sits back in the 6th spot. Kobe now trying to hold off James Savali, who is currently 7th on the field, and then it's Chris Pastriak currently in the 8th spot. Off the turn, it is still Christopher, 174 up on the big board. Next time by, there'll be 25 circuits remaining in the greatest race in the history of spring.
And Christopher leading Jimmy Blewett by 0.4 of a second. So that is his margin as we have single file throughout the backstretch. And the man putting on the pressure of Blewett is Bobby Santos. And Jimmy Blewett has always been tough to pass. And Bobby Santos, if he didn't know it before, he is learning that now.
He certainly is, and they head down the back straightaway, and Santos has the power to reel him in, but cannot really set himself up to make the transition and the move. So Blewett doing a great job as usual. You pointed it out early in this event, Matt, how that Blewett always runs well here at Stafford on the modified tour in these extra distance events. He really is a master of saving just enough. And we saw that early. He ran up front, he backed back just a bit, then came back again. 177, still the leader remains Teddy Christopher. He is out in front and literally gone from the competition. Hard to believe that back at about, well, the halfway point in this event, Christopher was angry because his crew cost him several positions on the racetrack. Now he is so far out in front, you'd never even know that that situation happened. It's all erased from his mind, I'm sure.
Well, not only did he have a great car, he had some anger management today as he used that anger to his advantage to stretch out a lead by about a wheat field over the 14 of Blewett. Battle between Stefanik and Pennick. That is for 4th. And Kobe behind those 2 cars. Here comes Pennick. Pennick's car is noticeably getting better. So obviously a good finishing kick for Pennick as here he comes again approaching Mike Stefanik.
Good made a good bid for it. It just didn't happen there. Interestingly enough, the top 6 cars are currently Troyer cars in the field. And then, of course, we've got the home-built car of Ralph Solom. And then we go to the Savali machine, which is a racework chassis car. So 180, 20 laps remain as laps still continue to tick away. But Teddy Christopher does not seem to be slowing whatsoever. Last time by was an 18.525, and Blewett turned an 18.687 with Santos with an 18.644.
Well, trouble for Woody Pitcat as he continues to crawl on the back groove. So Christopher in a little bit of distress. Pitcat in distress. But look at Christopher. Continues to stretch things out over the combination.
Oh, trouble now. The 0 car goes up in smoke, down into turn number 1.
A couple times.
Yes, it appeared that heavy smoke came from beneath the Colby machine as it perhaps had something break and let go in the race car as he was up in the loose stuff and ended up going up high on the racetrack, coming around and made contact with a wall. A heartbreaker for Doug Colby and Ralph Solom. They were turning in a great run here. Colby was running in the 6th spot currently as we speak. Now let's see if we can spot it on our monitor here. Stefanik and Pennick are going, and then all of a sudden smoke erupts from beneath the 0 car. We are about ready to go back to green flag racing. And it's a picture perfect start. Christopher by a nose, make it a car off turn number 2. Blewett fights back. Santos doesn't have much for them. And now Stefanik is hunted down by Rowan Pennick. And here is Todd Szegedy. We haven't talked about him much all afternoon as he's coming to the front as well. Santos made a bid for 2nd. That's what his crew chief wants, to put him in line in that 2nd spot. This time when they come off turn number 4, 10 laps to go. Christopher goes into the final 10. Blewett still setting in 2nd. Santos still in the 3rd spot. Stefanik is in 4th. Pennick is among the top 5 cars. Meanwhile, here comes Santos. Tries it again. Can't find room. Those reservations have been canceled. Christopher stringing it out at the point. Pulling away. Last time by an 18.482 among the quickest laps of this race. So Christopher is not slowing by any stretch of the imagination. Meanwhile, here comes Santos again, nipping at the heels of the 14 car of Jimmy Blewett. Trouble now. Slower car on the inside of the racetrack. It looks like the Hartman machine, car number 05, trying to get off the racetrack. Will he be able to do so? Yes, he does. We still remain under green. 193 up on the board, make it 194. Little further back, Pennick and Stefanik are battling for the 4th and 5th spot. But it is still car 36 dominating. We've got a yellow. Caution flag comes out on the field. And the caution is for the Hartman machine, car number 05, that has come to a screeching halt behind the scoreboard. The Chuck's Auto Wrecker goes to assist there. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready, because it's not over with yet. Battle of the red. 2 red automobiles up front. The leaders of the pack. Green flag is out, and Blewett has a slight advantage down to the bottom of the racetrack. Christopher pulls back in command. Meanwhile, Blewett has to settle in. Look at Rowan Pennick. He's now become a factor. Little bump and grind move, and Blewett upsets his race car and goes from 2nd to the bottom of the top 10, and the white flag is out. They are cars scrambling across the front straightaway. We are back under yellow. Wow. If you don't think things have a way of changing rather quickly here at Stafford, well, they do. There's no doubt about it. A wild situation sees Beluit in a last-ditch effort to try to get to the front of the field, get involved in a jingle, bounced off the wall. That set off a chain reaction situation. The Goodale team and the Pastriacs become victims of that. And we'll take a look at the replay of that from our vantage point in just a moment. But how quickly it all changed. And now on pit road, amazingly enough, heading down on pit road, and it's a yellow checkered situation, and the winner is car number 36, and that, of course, is the Ted Christopher machine. Into victory lane as well. What an amazing finish. And TC becomes the only driver who joins Maynard Troyer to win 3 consecutive Sizzlers here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. And we're going to take a look at the replay in just a moment as they start to prepare victory lane. What an amazing run down to the wire that it was. But here is the story as we look at it from our vantage point. Down the backstretch, Beluit tried for it, got crossed up. All of a sudden the car got evil. We're not sure if he had a tire or something go down. And then there was that mad scramble. And what a scramble it was as we take another different look at it. And it appears that that's the way it looked. It's something either broke or a tire went down on the Beluit machine. And then it was a little bit of chaos. There's no question about that. But there's no chaos in the winner's circle. Here's unofficially, Ted Christopher is your winner. Santos finishing second. Mike Stefanik is third. Rowan Pennick unofficially in the 4th spot. Zegedy in the 5th position. This is all unofficial. 6th is Savali. 7th is Hosfeld. 8th is Burnt. 9th position looks like Monsignor and Rudolph. That is unofficial currently as we speak. But Teddy Christopher has done it. He becomes one of 2 individuals. Maynard Troyer is the only driver to win 3 consecutive Sizzlers, and now Teddy Christopher has done that. He is out of the automobile. Let's go to Joe Koss.
Well, Ben, for the first time in many, many years, dating back to 1977 through 1979, 3-time winner in consecutive years of the CarQuest TechNet Spring Sizzler. Ted Christopher has done it. And Ted, you'll drink the milk here in CarQuest Victory Lane, a Stafford Motor Speedway tradition. How does it feel to tie a record along with Maynard Troyer? How special is this, no matter how many different events you've won in your career and how many events you've won here at Stafford Speedway?
Stafford's always special, be it SK racing, tour racing, and Busch races. Especially with the Sizzler to start of the year like that. We had a little rough luck in the SK, but it means a real lot to come back, to get 6 of these at this place.
One of the stories that we were following throughout the afternoon was the fuel. How concerned were you about that as the race went on?
I was driving around in 4th gear on the on the caution laps, but I really got to thank Tony. Great power and everything. My car owner Eddie Whelen gives us a great car, and my new crew chief Richie Nemec and Bill Steen shocks and everything. We got a little bit different stuff, but it all worked out in the end for us.
Certainly did. Didn't skip a beat. Brad LaFontaine now into Rich Nemec. Doesn't seem to make a difference. Ted Christopher still puts the 36 in victory lane.
Well, I drove for good guys before and everything. They've all provided me with great cars. We won with Brad, and now we won with Richie, and it's just another race car to change springs and shocks and try to make it go fast.
Well, Ted Christopher celebrating another win in CarQuest Victory Lane, this time the 3rd in a row in the TechNet Spring Sizzler. Let's go back up top.
Wow, what an incredible finish. Spring Sizzlers have always had amazing finishes, but this one is definitely no exception to the rule. The heartbreaker has to be the Beluit story, that he was so close and running so hard, and it almost appeared as something either broke or a tire went down or something, and that set off that melee that came off the turn, and a lot of other competitors got collected in the situation as well. Well, you look at the scoreboard, it tells the story. The man that was the fast time guy from the Icebreaker event and the fast time person from Spring Sizzler time trials was the man who finishes in the runner-up spot. Let's go to Joe Koss and talk with Bobby Santos III.
good run today. That beginning of the race kind of put us behind when we got spun, but awesome recovery by this team, getting us back in the race, and nobody got down. Just we all thought that we could come back and win it, and we come back for a nice, strong second-place finish. So I'm happy.
Well, you'll certainly leave here with the points lead once again as you head into the next race in the schedule. It's going to be right back here again. How can you continue this throughout the rest of the season?
Just guys are giving me a good car and doing an awesome job in the pit stops, and just everybody's doing a good job on the team. So it's been fun.
All right, that's Bobby Santos. He finishes second here this afternoon.
A great run to finish in second. And what about Mighty Mike Stefanik? He ran up front all day long, was involved in a couple of amazing efforts to get back to the front of the field. Sly and the rest of the gang have done a great job there, and the Flamingo Motorsports Diversified Metals machine will finish on the podium. So let's go down to Joe Koss with Mighty Mike Stefanik.
Yeah, their second podium finish of the 2010 campaign. Mike, it seems like you're getting right back into your groove here. This team really starting to click on 08. How does it look from your side of things?
Well, I mean, we were pretty good. We weren't quite as good as the two cars ahead of us, or the three cars actually. The 14 was pretty good too, but we just picked up an easy spot there at the end. But I got to thank our team. Our pit stop practice obviously showed today. We had an outstanding pit stop, and we're close. We need a little more, but we're close, and that makes me feel good because the effort and amount of money and time that is spent on these race cars, teams need to be reimbursed with good finishes. So I'm happy to be involved with this third place finish for Eric Sanderson, for RB Enterprises, and all the help that we get on this 16 team.
Let me ask you about turn 3 there in the white flag lap, or coming to the white flag. What happened over there from your perspective?
Well, I mean, everyone always says they didn't see it, but I was just kind of looking at the back of the 4, and I could see that the 14, I could see a little tire smoke, and I see his roof get turned. So I'm assuming Jimmy wanted to try to get down and behind Teddy. It does say Speedway out there, and it is 2 to go. I mean, the 4 didn't certainly come up off the bottom. He had his car on the bottom of the racetrack, and I think, it's just everybody just wants to keep, everybody so tight, and things happen, and he got together, and then he had to go up the track to catch it, and that just was unfortunate for Jimmy Blewett because he was having an outstanding race, and it was just a green-white checker that bit him.
All right, that's Mike Stefanik, another podium finish, and certainly a class act. You want the true story, you go to Mike Stefanik.
Well, there's no question about it. The top 3 on the podium here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. Well, the greatest race in the history of spring lives up to its reputation, and Ted Christopher is the big winner, going into the record books as the only other driver besides Maynard Troyer to win 3 consecutive Spring Sizzler events. Santos will finish in second. Santos will finish in second. Stefanik will finish in third. Pennick. Then it's Zegedy, Savali, Hosfeld, Burnt, Bonsignor, Rudolph, Flemke, Goodale, Blewett will come back to finish in the 15th spot. The other Goodale, the 58 car, Rene Dupuy, Hartman, Busch, Cole, Kobe, Priest, Pitcat, and Reen. That's unofficially how they finished among the top 25 cars. Well, it has been a great day here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. On behalf of our friends at CarQuest, we thank you for coming out and being a part of the festivities.